All right, well, hello everyone and happy Tuesday. It's digital host AJ Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. I say it every day wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Tuesday afternoon here. Now, we have quite a bit to jump into today, so let's start things off. And let's begin in Woodville, where earlier today we learned that authorities responded to the scene of a hostage situation near the intersection of Pear Street and Church Street. When deputies arrived, they say they found the man inside the home with children threatening suicide. The Madison County SWAT team was then called to respond to the situation. After a while, they were able to get both the man out of the house alive along with the children. The children are expected to be okay. The man threatening suicide has now been identified as Blake Guerin and has been placed into custody. And 48 Savannah Sapp will have more on this situation coming up in our evening newscasts. But now in Huntsville, where earlier today we learned that a 19-year-old is now facing criminal charges connected to a deadly shooting on Benford Drive. Court documents show that Jemiah Pitts is charged with reckless murder for the death of Tyreek Norris back on May 30th. Huntsville police say the case is still under active investigation and more charges could be coming. Pitts has an Aniah's Law hearing scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. He's currently being held in the Madison County Jail, and we'll continue to keep you updated on this case as we learn more. And also earlier today, we learned that a Boaz man is facing charges in connection to 2 separate burglaries at a photography studio in the Aroni community. Authorities estimate the value of the items stolen to be around $80,000. Authorities say it all happened on June 3rd and 4th. 26-year-old Ernest Westmoreland, that's who you see on screen, was arrested yesterday after an investigation led deputies to a home on Leith Gap Road. Investigators do say a majority of the items stolen were recovered there. Westmoreland was charged with 2 counts of theft of property in the second, 2 counts in the first, and 2 counts of burglary. But now let's move over to the weather. We finally get a little break of the rain here in North Alabama for the next couple of days, but it is expected to return as we dive later into the work week. 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis has everything you need to know. Brad?
Well, good Tuesday afternoon. As expected, no rain, a beautiful day after some patchy fog this morning. Might see a little patchy fog overnight tonight, but we will not see any rain. Next chance of rain comes in Thursday, mainly isolated afternoon showers and storms. Current temperatures here before 4 o'clock, around 87 degrees. So it's a hot one out there, but it's a dry heat today. By 5 o'clock, we're still in the low to mid 80s. Should be a really comfortable evening out on the patio. Once that sun angle gets down and once the sun sets, we will quickly fall into the 60s with morning lows right around 62. So very comfortable before sunrise Wednesday morning, but a very fast warm up into Wednesday afternoon. Highs near 90 degrees, but no rain. But a little bit more humidity. That southerly winds coming back Thursday, and that's going to lead to better rain chances too. So we kind of start the clock on the chance of rain Thursday afternoon, 30%, 40% climbing each and every day until we get to Father's Day. Here's a look at Friday. Most of the afternoon, at least the early afternoon, should be okay, but there will be some isolated development. Watching a cluster of showers and storms approaching from the west. May get here for your evening plans. Tonight, 63 for the low, and tomorrow, how about 88 to 90 degrees. Sunset just a little later at 8 o'clock. Finishing up with that 10-day forecast. 80s across the board. Rain chances again Thursday, and those will last through the weekend. I don't see it raining all weekend, but some days will be a little wetter than others.
Man, it seems like we can never get a weekend here in North Alabama without rain or severe weather. I am about ready for us to have one weekend, please, just one. But you guys all know the drill. Weather Extra tonight at 9:30. 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis. He'll be back here in the CTV Center, and he'll have all the latest that he's seeing on the radar. Brad always has a great time with it, so make sure to stick around for Weather Extra. Again, that is tonight at 9:30. But speaking of weather, heading out to the Shoals where 48's Aria Pons was yesterday, speaking with residents and officials about the storm damage out in St. Florine after last weekend's storms. Aria Pons reports.
In St. Florine, Sabrina Meyer had a tree fall on her home right where she should have been. Instead, she says it's by the grace of God that she's alive.
This is devastating. This is awful.
On Saturday around 1, Meyer says she was going to take a shower. Instead, though, she says a voice told her to make lunch.
If you hadn't listened to that voice,
I would have been right there. And if you could see the inside, how twisted and everything is of that shower and everything, there's no way. I would have died instantly.
A tree slammed into her bathroom and her bedroom while she was cooking. She says she jumped into action, getting her 3 dogs and hunkering down on the other side of her home until the storm passed.
And it does not sound like a train. It sounds horrible.
When the storm passed, she couldn't believe her eyes. She truly thinks a tornado passed through the area of County Road 135. Emergency Management Director Brad Holmes says no tornadoes have been confirmed, but he says National Weather Service will be out soon to survey the damage.
And I know people have lost their homes through tornadoes. They've lost everything. And now I know how they feel because I was in shock.
But Meyer says her spirit isn't broken. She wants to thank her community for showing up and clearing the way to her home.
There were so many people out here, and I am grateful for all of them because they were my angels. It's wonderful. This doesn't happen in cities and places like that. You know, country people, they care. They care a lot.
Meyer says she wants mobile home buyers to have a storm shelter installed when they buy the home. She says from firsthand experience, they are not built to withstand storms. Reporting in Lauderdale County, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
And now a story in case you missed it out of Huntsville. Making cuts and watching your spending is a normal part of any budget. But how about more than $10 million in cuts? The city of Huntsville is cutting its budget for 2025 after one stream of revenue seems to be falling flat. 48's Nick Ballinger spoke to Huntsville Mayor Tommy Battle. He says the budget planned for a 2 to 3% increase in sales tax. So far this year, it's only seeing about 0.5% increase in spending. Battle says it's happening all over the country and businesses downtown are noticing too. Nick Ballinger with more.
The city of Huntsville's budget hasn't seen a cut since the 2008 recession until now.
There was a little bit of weakness in there, not much, but enough for us to say, hey, let's just be very cautious this year.
The city cut its budget by 1%, just over $10 million, after sales tax numbers saw a significant drop. Mayor Tommy Battle says he doesn't expect to see any of those cuts in your daily lives.
Most of that is made up with payroll, with just slowing down the hiring process a little bit.
It comes as consumers are being more cautious with their cash.
Nationwide, people are just a little bit more cautious with their spending. I don't think it'll last long, but I think right now, while there's just a little bit of uncertainty, they're a little bit cautious.
On the ground level, businesses are seeing some of that caution too. Ashanti Ortega works at One Man's Vintage in Huntsville.
there's definitely more traffic with students coming back from school and visiting their families, also people visiting Huntsville for like the weekend.
She hopes as summer ramps up, so will business.
There will be people that attend those events and they just walked in downtown and run across our shop and they see the market and they see our booth and they're like, wow, I didn't even know you guys have a store in Huntsville.
Battle says in-person shopping has seen a decline. Even if you order online from a store in Huntsville, those taxes go to the state, not the city.
When you get down to the bottom line, the city, where it would be bringing in 4.5%, providing money for schools and some of the other functions, is getting about 2.6%.
That's millions of dollars lost for the city just at the click of a button.
And now in Jackson County with another story in case you missed it. It was a close call this past Sunday for a Knoxville, Tennessee woman after breaking her ankle on a hike at the Walls of Jericho in Scottsboro. 48 Savannah Sapp spoke with rescue squad officials who urged caution when hiking in the area. Savannah Sapp with the details.
Well, the Jackson County Rescue Squad spent their Sunday bringing a Knoxville woman to safety after she fell on a hike at the Walls of Jericho and broke her ankle. Now, captain of the squad, Eddie Teague, tells me that these trails can be dangerous if hikers are unprepared or inexperienced. Crews spent most of the day Sunday rescuing a Knoxville woman who injured herself deep into the trail. Teague tells me this is the third rescue in just a few months in that location. He says they were able to locate the woman using a satellite messaging service commonly found on most cell phones. And though a broken ankle is serious, it could have been much worse. Teague says even experienced hikers should be careful walking the trails around the Walls of Jericho, adding they can be slick and steep. He says while it is not his intention to deter anyone from walking the trail, it's important to exercise extreme caution.
Need to really check the place out before you go. It's not like walking around the park. It's a very taxing hike, especially if someone's inexperienced and not properly prepared for that situation. If you like the woods, like hiking, it's challenging, but it's a beautiful place. We love to see people come to Jackson County.
Now, Teague adds, if you are going to hike the Walls of Jericho, it's important to have food and water with you as well as good shoes and to never go by yourself. In Scottsboro, Savannah Sapp, 48 News, on your side.
That is certainly good advice there. And now coming up after the break, a Tennessee Valley native heading to the big leagues and highlighting a furry four-legged new member of the Limestone County Sheriff's Office. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, time's up. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Before the Four. Now, some exciting news for Tennessee Valley baseball fans. Pitcher and Florence native Grant Taylor has been called up to the Chicago White Sox. Taylor has been spending the season with the Birmingham Barons, registering an impressive 1.01 ERA in 15 games, which includes 6 starts. The right-hander has thrown just over 26 innings this year, allowing 12 hits, 11 walks, and 37 strikeouts. The 23-year-old right-hander was drafted out of Louisiana State in the second round of the 2023 MLB draft, and Taylor is expected to join the White Sox in Houston today. But we wish him the best of luck, and hopefully he will stay in the big leagues for, honestly, the rest of his career, but we are definitely hoping for the long haul for sure. But now check this out, the Limestone County Sheriff's Office now has a new member, and it seems like he's liking his new role. Everyone meet Charlie the Golden Doodle. 48's Claudia Peppenhorst introduces us.
Everybody knows a dog just helps.
That's what Charlie the Golden Doodle is set to do at the Limestone County Sheriff's Office. Help.
Hello, my angel. Hello.
He's a new addition to their team, born on Christmas Eve and only 5.5 months old. Sheriff Joshua McLaughlin says the original idea was to just have an office dog, but he soon realized that Charlie's purpose could be so much more.
If we have victims come in, they have anxiety or maybe it's not their best day, they see him and it kind of helps lighten lighten it up. He just loves on them, and they love on him.
Not only that, Sheriff McLaughlin says dealing with children can be tricky. That's where Charlie steps in, holding out a helping paw.
It can help a child unravel a little bit, and sometimes it'll help them if they need to talk to us. They'll be more comfortable talking to us. He just kind of sits there and he lays down, lets them love on him. He'll play with them if they want to play, and it can make a bad day a whole lot better.
When he's not assisting victims, you can usually find him in his favorite spot with his girls back in dispatch, Charlie's Angels, if you will. When he clocks out for the day, he heads home with Sheriff McLaughlin.
He is my baby.
But many others are also claiming him. Sheriff McLaughlin says he's been attending school visits with the department. Now, many are calling him the unofficial Sheriff Department mascot.
And as soon as Charlie walks in, they all know him now just from seeing him out in the community. They'll yell and scream and cheer, and he doesn't have a big reaction until it's time for him to work, and then he'll go play with the kids.
Are you a sweetie? Yeah.
This is just the beginning of Charlie's journey with the Sheriff's Department, as he will continue to be a positive ball of fluff for all who encounter him.
We really weren't sure how it would work out, and he's just been a blessing to the office. It's not just for victims and people who come in, it's the employees.
And that is so awesome. And now it is time for the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. Of course, covering the courts, several trials in the Tennessee Valley are getting underway, including a Hartselle chiropractor accused of poisoning his wife, a Shoals daycare worker charged with manslaughter for the death of a 4-month-old, and a Sand Mountain man charged in a sex trafficking sting. We'll have the latest from all those trials coming up in our evening newscast. Also following up on the state law changes here in Alabama regarding vapes. 48's Callie Neese will have more on that coming up. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And it is just about that time. It is, of course, time for Facebook fun. That's right. We are continuing on yesterday's question, which was, of course, where do you plan on going for vacation this summer? And you all had such awesome comments. I was like, I got to bring it back for a second day. So let's see what you all had to say. As I said yesterday, I have already had my vacation for this summer. I went to Daytona Beach, Florida. It was a great family trip. But what I want to know is what you all had to say for day 2. And let's see. It looks like Juanita is going to Disney. Is it Disney World, Disneyland? I guess it's all pretty much a magical time either way. So Juanita, I hope you have an awesome trip to Disney. That is always an amazing place. I love Disney so much. And let's see, Serena, a cruise next month to Cozumel. Those are always great. I actually went on a cruise to Cozumel when I was 14 years old and had an awesome time. It was a Carnival cruise. So much fun. Serena, have a great cruise and a great vacation. Incredible. Jerome said Montana. Now, Montana is a beautiful state. I have never been, but I have heard that it is super pretty up there. Yeah, have a great time in Montana. That is awesome. Looks like Kenny and Paige, they are heading up to Niagara Falls and NYC. 2 awesome places. I hear Niagara Falls is absolutely gorgeous. And of course, New York City is New York City, the Big Apple, the city that doesn't sleep. Great city there. Have a great vacation. And then Delana went to Winslow, Arizona. She is taking it easy up there. That is incredible. Well, that is all the time I have for today's Before the 4, but I hope you all have a great night. Enjoy tonight's evening newscast, and as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.